Hello, my name is Marisa Rivera. We are in Indianapolis, Indiana at VFW Center 119. Today, I will be interviewing Frank Begle, and on the audio and video will be Becky Lee. Are you part of any, are you a member of any type of programs as far as VFW, American Legion? Are you a member of any?
I'm an American Legion member for 50 years now, this past year, and VFW for 15 to 20 years, I guess, 20. Life member at VFW and yearly Legion member.
What wars or what branch of service did you serve in?
I was drafted in the U.S. Army in 1968.
Tell me a little bit about yourself as far as where you grew up.
Okay, I was born in southern Indiana, Honeyburg, Indiana. It's a little town, about 4,000. Lived on a farm in a little town close there in Brettsville, Indiana. With had 3 sisters and 4 brothers, and we had a farm about 160 acres, and just farmed and raised animals and did a lot of farming, custom combine and all this stuff. We did that.
So when did you start first hearing about this Vietnam War?
Probably junior in high school. That's really when I started.
Did you say you were drafted, or did you?
Drafted.
On,
yes.
Were a lot of people from your neighborhood or your area drafted, or were there a lot of people, different people?
A lot of classmates of mine were drafted, and there's a few of them signed up early, right out of high school.
Did you pick the branch you were in, or when you were drafted, did they just automatically send you to whatever, or did you have an option to pick?
I didn't have much option. They drafted me and went to Fort Knox, and I told them I graduated from IBM school. I'd like to get in that, and at that time, back at '68, there was much IBM stuff going on, so they put me in tanks. so unfortunately, I didn't get what I wanted, what I studied for.
So IBM wasn't a tank then, was it?
No, not a bit.
Do you recall your first days of service when you first? Do you recall any? When you first got there, or?
Yeah, I can recall it. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't want to go. And then I got, went through basic, and of course it was hell. I was pretty out of shape, really bad. But when I came out, the only good thing, I was in good shape. I was probably 90 people. I was probably 80th, and when I came out, I was like 4th.
Oh.
So that was the good part. I got in shape, and
Once you got out of basic, did you go anywhere, or did they ship everybody straight, your whole class?
I knew I was going to Vietnam, so I had to go through, I had to go to AIT training. That was advanced infantry training. And then after that, I had to go to a Vietnam training for another month or 2, I don't remember what, before I shipped out in May of '69. 20 years old.
Do you remember any of your instructors from basic training, or any of the drill sergeants?
I can remember one guy named Sergeant Rust, and I'll tell you, that's about the only guy I remember. He's pretty mean.
What made him memorable? Was it that he was just a very strict guy?
Very strict. Hollered, and but that's where they all were. Buck sergeants, whatever, they thought they were God, I guess. Yeah.
So how'd you get through that? I mean, coming from a farm out in Indiana, a little town, it must have been difficult trying to get through that.
Probably never seen different color, race people. I was from all a white county, and going there, yeah, it's different, and got through it, and met some pretty nice guys.
When you left basic training and went through this training to go to Vietnam, did you go with any of the people that were part of your basic training camp, or were you, or part of your IT? Did you go as a group?
Not really. I think everybody separated. I did have one guy that I went to high school with. Really my best friend. And we can get to this later, what happened to him. But I was with him and I met him. He went in early. He was a sergeant, and he was a platoon leader, and he went over a little earlier than I did. But I ended up with him over there, which was pretty strange.
And which war was this? This was the
This was in the Vietnam War.
Vietnam War?
Yeah.
Where exactly did you go, or where can you tell us that you went?
And 50 years ago, it's hard to remember, but I did land in Ben Hoa. There's an airstrip there.
Mhm.
So, and that was a home camp. And they kept you in there for a few weeks before they send you out in the boonies. And I was a driver for ACAF, which is it's called a M113. It's smaller than a tank, but you know.
Still
carried-
a factory vehicle?
Yeah, it had an M50 on the cupola and two M60s on the side. And I started out as a driver.
When you arrived in Vietnam, do you remember what it was like, what it smelled like? Was
Yes.
there much?
Oh yeah, it's distinctive odor of it stunk. It was the ground was all red, and when you went to camp, you'd smell the latrines, the burning of the human waste, which was terrible. You know, you smell that every day, and it's sickening. But I just remember that odor. That's something you never forget.
Hey, you said you were there for a couple of weeks before you actually got with your people and went into the field.
Yeah, in the field, yeah.
Did your unit or did your platoon see combat?
Yes, we did a lot. We would we would find something, and we'd have about 30 ACAFs, and then we'd meet a few tanks go with us, and we'd go through the jungle wherever something was online and far away.
Were there many casualties in your unit?
Not many, considering. No, there's more infantry guys that got, I thought, but we lost about 10 people since I was there.
How far north did y'all go?
Not very far. I was in An Loc, Loc Ninh. It's more southern Vietnam. Never went up in the rain.
There was, you saw there was enough, well, there was more than enough going on to...
Yeah, it was right after the Tet Offensive when I got there, and that's where
Okay, now
that's where it all happened.
Mhm.
And luckily, I got there just after it was over. You know, so
How long after the Tet Offensive was it that you arrived? About a couple of months?
yeah.
Month?
See, I got there in May of 69, and it happened in 68. I think it was over January.
Did you get any awards? Did you receive any awards, or did your unit receive any awards that...
You know, just the regular awards, the Vietnam medals, you know, and I can't even tell you the names of them. I have to look at my old uniform, and I took a picture of it. And then, like I say, 50 years ago, I don't even remember what they were. But, you know, get the National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, and Army Commendation Medal. I think there were 4 things that were on my uniform.
Strange thing is, though, you say, you know, just regular awards. It took a lot of courage and to do what you did. You know, it's not like they just give awards for that, especially being you were in combat, so you earned what you had. So we thank you for that. So what was life like at the front lines when you were, you know, did you all have like a base camp that y'all went to every night?
Well, in tanks you didn't. You stayed out in the boonies for months at a time. Sometimes you go back to artillery camp base and stand down and take care of your track and stuff, and then you'd stay on guard duty there till you go back out.
So how long were you, when you went out, how long were you out? Like a week, 2 weeks, a month?
Sometimes up to a month. Like, you don't hear no news or nothing. Like, I was there, I didn't know the Jets won, and I didn't know the Mets won. I didn't know we went to the moon till a month later.
Oh, wow. See, it's... So, when you came back and realized all this stuff, what was that like? I mean, what did you feel? It's
Well, I just say I missed out a lot of stuff. I didn't know about it, but you know, time went pretty fast. Because you were always busy.
You were out there for a month in the woods in a tank with your platoon. What kind of food did y'all have? What did y'all?
We had sea rations. They were in little cans, and then we had something called lurps. They were in bags where you warm it up some water and pour it in there, like spaghetti or whatever. And, pretty bad stuff that them sea rations. So we would throw the little can of fruitcake to the little Vietnamese kids, and it's so bad they threw them back at us.
Oh. When y'all were on, did y'all get plenty of supplies? Did y'all get like water on a constant basis and?
Pretty well. The shin hooks come in and drop off food once in a couple of weeks. We might get something hot or water.
Did you have a something in particular that you did for good luck? Was there like a lucky charm that you had that you kept with you at all times?
I can't say that. No, I really can't think of nothing. Oh, I did have a little monkey on my track.
Was it something that you?
Yeah, he was a lucky, but it turned out pretty bad. We were sitting there. We stopped that night or sometime in the afternoon, and finally we heard a bunch of shooting, and we had to go real quick. So I didn't know where the monkey was, so I had to leave him. So then we went and did our thing, and came back the next day, and I looking for him, and the little kid came up and said, "Monkey good." They ate him.
Was it a stuffed monkey or a real monkey?
Real monkey.
Oh.
That's what they eat over there. Dogs and cats, monkeys. Monkeys is good stuff. So that,
I guess
I didn't have any more pets after that.
How did you keep this monkey?
He just stayed in our track. Just went with us.
Huh, I've never heard of that.
I got pictures of him shoulder someplace. I don't know.
Did y'all have any, when y'all were in the field, did y'all see any entertainers? Did any of the, the USO people come out? Or even when you went to base, y'all didn't see?
Never did see anybody like that, no. Always wanted to.
How long were you over in Vietnam?
Well, I was only there really 10 months. Actually, my sister died, and I got to go home early. And then I took an extra 30 days, and that put me over the time. They wouldn't send me back for a month or 2 months. So she died, and I got to go home, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
but I did get out of there because I was getting to be like one of the older guys. And when you're the older guy, it's bad because all the new guys come in, they don't know what's going on, and anything could happen. So I figure she probably saved my life getting out of there, because I talked to some guys after I got back. I sent letters, and a lot of them got shot up. The worst thing is the guy that I went to high school with, he was a E6 over there, and I seen him get killed in front of me.
Was he part of your unit?
He was at the 11th Cav, but we had a big a get together with everybody. We were going after a bunch of Vietnamese, so they had tons of I can't even tell you what they call it. We had about 40, 60 tanks, and we were going after this thing. So he threw a track and got ambushed.
Did you have a lot of photos?
I did, and I left them there when I came home. When my sister died, I had a whole thing full of photos and stuff, clothes, because I thought I was coming back. And I wrote to the guys, but I never did get nothing back.
So what do you think about your peers, your fellow soldiers? Were most of them pretty?
Real good.
The officers that, the leaders,
most of all, they were all really great guys.
Do you keep in touch with any of them?
No, every time I called somebody, they died. I swear, I quit calling people.
Do you remember your last day in the service when you got out? Well, do you remember first when you first got back here, and knew that you didn't have to go back.
Yeah, I was very, very happy about that I didn't have to go back. But I felt bad for the guys that were there. And I feel like I let them down. They sent me to Fort Knox, and I had it pretty easy there. I drove a major around in a Jeep and getting tanks out to a place to practice, and he let me do about everything I wanted to do. I went home on weekends. I was only an hour from my hometown, Fort Knox, to down where I live. So I'd go home about every other weekend. And I didn't have to do inspections and all that. So the last, 8 months I kind of had it made.
So how long were you in overall total?
Just 2 years exactly.
2 years, so you spent a year almost over there.
Yeah.
And
And then the rest was Fort Knox for training and whatnot.
do you remember the last day when you finally got your paperwork and said, Frank,
Oh, yeah.
thank you very much for your
I
service?
can remember that. It was my dad, my brother, and best friend picked me up. And
About when was that? Do you remember?
it was 1970 and August, let's see, November of 1970. November 7th, I think it was. Yeah, went into 68, so exactly 2 years. It kept me.
So you remember that day
Yeah.
stuck with you. That's something that was.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you do afterwards? Once you were out, I mean, did you have a plan as far as what you were gonna do or what you wanted to do, or?
I didn't really. I had a job in Indianapolis here before I went, and I was gonna probably come back up here. You could get your job back. It was a government job, but I did hang out down at my hometown for a couple months and just said I got to get out of this town. It's kind of a crazy little place. You had to work in a wood factory if you want to stay down there. So.
Once you got out, did you see yourself different from when you first went in? As far as, because when you first went in, you were born and raised in that little town.
Yeah.
But once you got out and got to see more of the world, what did you think? Was it something that was like, well, maybe I need to go? Is that why you left your town eventually?
I'd say it was too much of a party town. I had to get out of that little town.
The little town, the party town.
And moved back to the big city, and had a different attitude on everything. I just lived. I was lucky to be alive. I felt, and thought I was gonna just enjoy it, get a job where I didn't get no stress, which I did, and went from there.
Did you go back to school at all, or?
Never went back to school. I graduated from that school that it was called AIT, Automation Training Institute, and I graduated. And I never did get back into that. Everything I learned, I more or less forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that interested in it. So.
Did you join any, once you got out, did you wait a while before joining any veteran organizations, or did you partake?
I did that right away. As soon as I got drafted, I joined at the Legion down home, which was Ferdinand, Indiana. That was 1968. I joined right away as soon as I could. And then I didn't join the VFW till I got to Indianapolis. And that was 80s.
When you got out and people learned that you were in Vietnam, did people treat you any different, or did they look at you any different?
Not really. Small town like that, they didn't hassle you. You were more famous, I guess you could say. I went, my buddy that died, I went and got the post office named after him. And I had a big thing down there, so I felt good about doing that. And, congressman there, and the little town was named after him. Got to get killed with me.
Yeah, actually, that is. Could you one more time tell me a little bit more about the history behind these two?
The 11th Armored Cavalry. That's what I was in. That's the tanks and ACAS. And we're gonna have our 35th reunion this year.
So do y'all still? A lot of y'all still get together?
I go to it, but I probably only know about 2 guys there, 3 guys.
How many other people are there normally on the reunions when you go?
There's probably about 500.
Oh, so it was a big. There was a lot of y'all.
Yeah, it's big.
And what about this hat?
That's just a United States Army hat.
And I take it you take a lot of pride in
Yes, say I did. I just,
After you left the military, what kind of career, what did you end up going to do?
well, I worked for the state government. I was in a testing laboratory for many years.
Testing.
Materials for the state of Indiana, what you see out in the roads, and did that. And I did a little lawn service, and I worked a little bartender at the VFW, and
7119.
different jobs to get a couple kids through college.
And what about this calendar
Oh,
down
I
here, Frank?
get one every year. It just shows what went on over there. This is where I tell you, where we go in and take care of our tanks. You go to these Air Force, but artillery bases, and sit down and you clean your tracks and do all what you do, lubricate them and whatnot.
So are these actual pictures from back during Vietnam that
Yep.
somebody else, a photographer, took?
Yeah, this is by some doc that was over there. But and this is a mortar, guys shooting mortars up. And that's part of a tank. And there's another base. I don't know what that, the rock quarry. I never did see that, to tell the truth. I remember seeing all the rubber trees, and we weren't supposed to destroy no rubber trees. When you went into a firefight, you just went and knocked everything down.
What was special about the rubber trees?
That's their main export, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, rubber trees were. There's where the Vietnamese, they crawl in the holes and the tunnels, and you don't want to be a little guy, or you'd have to go in there and find them. So I was tall, so I didn't have to do that. But there's exactly what I drove. This is the ACAB. There's the emblem on it. See, we go 1, 2, like 6 of us in a row, go through the jungle. But this is what they look like. And we'd have sometimes like 40 of these online and just go at them.
So, mobile targets.
Yeah, and I liked it in there. I thought we were safer than the guys on the ground. But they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be in these because a rocket could go right through and explode.
Oh, so they weren't,
They weren't bulletproof. I mean,
or a rocket propelled grenade could
yeah,
still go
they
through
could
it.
go through it. Yeah.
So, do you think your military experience influenced your thinking about war or the way you feel about the military in general?
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for the guys that are over there and doing it, and I feel bad about the 58,000 people we left over there or got killed, because they were all probably all under 21 almost. That's what I couldn't understand. And why we were there, I know we were fighting communists and all that, but I was young and I wasn't a career guy, that's for sure.
Let me ask you something. When you were there, because I've talked to several people, when you were there, what were you fighting for?
For America, the flag, and but like I say, I didn't understand why we were really there. I know we were fighting communists and all that, but I got drafted, so
Yeah.
that's not a good. You say I wasn't a career soldier.
Right now at your VFW Post, what kind of activities do you do or do they do to help veterans or to help, bring other people into veteran organizations to talk with each other?
Yeah. We do different things for kids, Christmas party, Easter parties for underprivileged kids, make money for them for the small towns here, and try and take care of veterans that are having a rough time. If they're sick, visit them, try and get them
So
fixed.
y'all do try to help the local
Yes.
veteran community and do what we can to support each other and help each other out.
For sure.
You said you do attend the reunions for your unit, the 11th Armored. That's on a yearly basis?
Yeah, that's usually everywhere from Vegas to San Antonio, Texas, but it is at Indianapolis this year. So I probably go down for a while. I don't think I'll go to a meeting once in,
When is that? If
it's in August,
In
2020.
August 2020.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
is there anything you would like to add that we haven't covered in this interview as far as what happened or your experience, the way the military has changed your life, or anything you'd like to share with other people that might watch this video?
I don't know. I'm glad there's no draft no more. 'Cause I always worried about my kids, and they would have to go over there. And fortunately, they went to college, and then the war was over, and I didn't have to worry about that. I would have definitely been worried about that. Just kids going over there.
Was anybody in your family prior military before
No.
you got drafted?
My oldest brother was in the Navy. He was back. That was way back in the 50s. He was a 4-year guy in the Navy. Otherwise, me and him are the only ones that were in the service.
And nobody else in your family's
No,
ever served?
no, they're all.
Well, thank you though for your serving and for sharing some of your memories and some of the experiences that you've had in the military. Really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Becky Lee for working the camera, and thank you once again, Frank, for your
Okay.
service
Thank
and
you,
for
Chico.
taking the time to do this with us.
All right. Welcome.